Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into a grammar point that is, no joke, one of the biggest keys to sounding more natural and fluent in English, the present continuous. Seriously, think of it less like a dry grammar rule and more like a tool for bringing everything you say to life. Let's get into it.
Okay, to get us started, just imagine this really simple scenario. We've got a question here. What is Sarah doing right now? You can see she's in her car, right? She's on her way somewhere. So what's the actual action that's happening?
She's driving to work. And that little part right there is driving. That is the absolute key. It just instantly paints a picture of what's happening at this very moment. This is the whole heart of the present continuous.
So, let's start with its most common, most straightforward use, which is talking about an action that's happening the very instant that we are speaking.
So what is it really? Well, at its core, the present continuous is for any action that's currently in progress. And the main idea, the thing to remember, is that the action has started, but it hasn't finished. You're caught right in the middle of it.
And the way we build it, it's actually wonderfully simple. You just take your subject, you add the right form of the verb to be, so am, is, or are, and then you just stick ing on the end of your main verb. But look at the contractions here, like I'm and he's. In real-life conversation, this is what you're going to hear almost all the time.
And you can see just how essential this is for everyday chats. You know, if someone asks, "Where's Mark?" you'd say, "He's having a shower." If you said, "He has a shower," that sounds more like a general fact or a habit, not what he's doing right this second.
Okay, but what if the action isn't happening at this exact second? Well, this is where the present continuous gets even more useful and a little more interesting. So imagine your friend Steve calls you up. He says, "I'm reading a really good book at the moment." Now, he's not literally holding the book up to his ear while he's on the phone, right? Of course not. What he means is that he started it, he hasn't finished it, and he's in the middle of the project of reading that book. So you really have to think about two different types of now. There's the immediate, at this moment now, like, "Please don't make so much noise, I'm trying to work." But then there's this bigger, around now period, like Kate here. Maybe right now she's drinking a coffee, but the bigger, unfinished project in her life is that she's learning Italian.
And we can stretch this around now idea to cover bigger chunks of time, like today, or this week, or even this year. So if you say, "The company I work for isn't doing so well this year," you're describing an ongoing situation that's true for this whole period because, the year isn't over yet.
All right, now for what might be my favorite use of this tense. The present continuous is absolutely perfect for describing a world that is always, always changing. It's how we talk about trends and developments, basically things in motion. Just think about all these verbs that naturally describe a process. Things like getting, becoming, changing, improving. They're all about moving from one state to another. And when you add that ing to them, you're really highlighting that this change is happening and it's underway. Here is a perfect example. We'd never really ask, "Does your English get better?" It just sounds a little clunky, a little strange. We ask, "Is your English getting better?" Because we're asking about the ongoing process, the journey of improvement.
And this also works perfectly for those huge, large-scale trends. We don't just say the world's population is high, we say it's increasing. That word captures the nonstop, continuous nature of that growth.
It even works for our own personal changes of heart. This sentence is great because it shows a shift in how someone feels over time. That feeling of enjoyment, it's a new process that has just begun and is currently unfolding. Okay, so we've covered the main ideas. You've heard the theory. How about we try a couple of quick examples just to see it all in action? I'll give you a situation, you think about the answer. Ready? Let's do it.
All right, first one. Someone says to you, "Please don't make so much noise." What's a likely reason they'd say that? Use the present continuous. "I'm trying to work."
Exactly. That's our first rule in action, right? Something happening at the exact moment of speaking. Simple, direct, nice one.
Okay, how about this one? They don't need their car anymore. Now, this suggests a longer-term situation is going on. So what are they doing with it?
They're trying to sell it. Perfect. See? They might not be on the phone with a buyer this very second, but the big unfinished project in their lives,
is selling that car. That is our bigger, unfinished action rule. You got it?
So, we've seen how the present continuous works. Now, let's just wrap up by focusing on why it is so incredibly important for making your English just sound right.
So just remember those 3 key situations. You've got what's happening right now. You've got those bigger projects happening around now. And you have describing this world that's always in motion. Those are your 3 keys. And if you take just one thing away today, let it be this. Mastering this tense, it's not about passing some grammar test. It is about making your English sound active, dynamic, and alive. It's how you show people that you see the world and your own life as something that is constantly unfolding. So, I'll leave you with a question to try out for yourself. Think about it. In your own life, what big change is happening in your world right now? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.